What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Big Money MMA show. I'm sorry I took last week off for the Apex card because I just had a little bit of difficulties. I was a little bit sick. I didn't want you guys to have a terrible video where I'm sounding super nasally. As you can hear from this video, I'm still recovering a little bit, but I feel a lot better and I'm ready to go. Talking about UFC Houston, a little bit of a recap. If you don't know, I do make my predictions on Tapology all the time, no matter what. So if you want to keep me honest, that's the way to do it. Always check my Tapology to see what I'm saying about all these fighters. We went 11 out of 13 on that card. We almost swept it, only got 2 wrong. But overall, that's really good card for me. And, it was a pretty good Apex card considering it's in the Apex, of course. But enough about that card. Now on to this card. UFC Houston, Strickland versus Hernandez. This is the first crowded fight night of the year of 2026. And it's a pretty good card. We got Sean Strickland on there. We got Dan Ige, a couple Extreme Couture guys on there. So they got a couple team chemistry bonus going on. Anthony Hernandez, Fluffy. Uh, Alexander Hernandez was on the other card. I don't think they're related, but I might mess that up, so watch out. I might call him Alexander once in a while. But Anthony Hernandez is really good. He's on a tear right now in the welterweight division. He's on a 5-fight win streak, I think, like an amazing 5-fight win streak where he's straight up dominating these guys. He's not making it close. He's finishing these guys now. Last time he went out there against Roman Dolidze, bro. Oh my God, bro, he got destroyed. So we'll get into the card with the first fight of the night. We got Juliana Miller versus Carly Judice. Pretty even fight. I want to say like 4-3 versus 5-2. Like pretty. She's 5-3. Miller. I don't know why I change that later, but 5 versus 5-2. But don't get me wrong, Carly Judice's record should be 7-0. She barely lost those 2 first decisions that she had, split decisions. Where she won those. Looking back, I think she clearly won them. I don't know why they were split decisions, but that's how WMMA is, right? So this fight, I'm gonna go Carly Judice. I think she's gonna get round 3 TKO. I'll go round 3 because she knows girls actually have knockout power at 5, which is incredible. I think that's why she's supposed to be top 5 family. And she got to be champion every year, so who knows? But I'm gonna go with Carly Judice, round 3 KO. I think Juliana Miller, she has like every skills, but I think Carly Judice has knockout power, which I think trumps anything that any other woman can do in this division. You know what I mean? If you can cut the lights out, boom, who cares, right? That way. She's my 400 favorite. I think she's a lock of the week, one of the locks of the week. I have locks on this card, but I think she's for sure good parlay. I think she's gonna get done round 2 TKO. Carly Judice. On to the next. Yair Duvall is Jordan Let it, bro. You're with the gamer. Yair Duvall, bro. If you don't know, he had the controversial fight against Bulgarian that should have been canceled last minute, but it wasn't. And the right people saying like, oh, inside betting people know something, but Isaac we don't. Yeah, he went out there and got out there, an easy win. I think Levitt's another up for him. Don't get me wrong, Jordan Levitt is pretty good. I just think that Duvall is a little bit better. I'm gonna go with Duvall by this submission, round 3, round 2 submission. I want to say -400 favorite. Of course, we know he's gonna be the favorite in this fight. I hope there's no inside trading going on around this guy's fight again. But Jordan Levitt is pretty good. He has good striking, but he has susceptibility to get stuff, and I think that Yair just has better ground than people of Jordan Levitt's starter. But I could see this one to a decision, but I don't think that's very far fetched. So Yair Duvall, round 2. We got Jean-Paul Labosniani versus Phil Rowe. Jean-Paul Gaultier over here, 9-2. Phil Rowe, 11-6. We know Phil Rowe. He's one of those fighters where if there's a fight like this, I'm 50-50. If there's a fight where Phil Rowe's going up maybe a couple spots in the rankings, bro, he's going to get slimed out. That's just how Phil is. He's one of those fighters where he's going to be able to get rid of some, hyped up prospects in the early moments, but then he's going to try to go up in rankings and he's going to get slimed out by whoever's ahead of him, right? So, like, Phil Rowe's one of those guys that's like number 17, number 18. He's never going to be number 15 in the rankings, so that's why I could see Phil Rowe winning this. I have a suspicion about Phil Rowe just going out there and fluking a win, but I'm gonna go with the prospect 9-2, Jean-Paul Labosniani. I'm gonna go with him by decision. I think he's gonna win by decision. He's a -225, 220 favorite, and overall he's been climbing in the favorite category. 27 years old. Money's coming in on him. So final prediction: Jean-Paul Labosniani by decision. On to the next fight. Ramiz Brahimaj versus Punahele Soriano. Both of these guys are some of my favorite prospects in the welterweight division. Punahele, he's from Hawaii, of course, 30 years old, 12-4. He has great, ground game, top control, good striking on the feet compared to some of the other opponents that Ramiz has gone against. Ramiz, obviously, he's had a couple good wins, 13-5. Don't get that twisted. His record should be a lot better than that, but you know He's been on a tear recently. Last time out, he went out against Austin Vanderford and he got the sub off, which is pretty good. I think, like, his ground game is really good. I think that Punahele has a decent ground game as well, so this could be one of those even matchups. No wonder the odds are 110-110, even odds, so it's a pick 'em fight. I'm going to go with Hermes Brahimaj just because of the upside. If I think Punahele Soriano is the type of guy to put his head in a guillotine, just go for the takedown and then get subbed in the meantime, so I do think Punahele has the advantage on the feet, but I don't know how much of that is going to play out if he goes for takedowns and Ramirez can get the sub. If he goes into the ground game, I think he has the advantage. But on the feet, I can see him getting pieced up by Punahele. So it'll be even fight. I'm just gonna go with Ramirez by origin. On to the next fight. We got North Cornell versus Jocelyn Edwards. Bantamweight women's bout. I'm gonna go with Jocelyn. I just think that this is a rematch. If you didn't know, I know voice is an type matchup, but let me don't get me wrong. This is a rematch. If you didn't know, and us true WMA fans, we know this is a rematch. But I'm gonna go with Jocelyn Edwards by decision. I think that she has improved a lot since the first fight. But North Cornell has low-key stayed a little bit stagnant. Hasn't really improved her grappling game. Her striking the exact same as it was before. Jocelyn, she's gotten better at striking. But also, her ground game is pretty good. So I'm gonna rematch. On to the next fight. Flyweight battle: Alden Correa versus Luis Rule. Oh, Alden Correa is pretty good, but I could see Luis Rule getting this. I think that he's a prime underdog, but I'm not gonna go with him just because Correa, bro, he's been fighting. He's training with Joshua Van. That team in Houston, it's a pretty good team, man. And he knocked out Alisson Costa, who I ranked or who I rated pretty highly, to be honest. Lewis was getting chinned by jobbers like Ode Osborne, who's on this card as well. So he's got a choppy chin. The reach advantage was really concerning here. 67. Okay, 6 advantage, 64-inch reach advantage. I'm going with Korea because of that. Because to be honest, I see the upside. 27 years old. Joshua Van's his training partner. He's a damn champion right now. So I'm gonna go with Alden Correa by decision on to the next fight. But I could see knockout, so I'm actually gonna change that right now. Alden Correa by decision. I think our biggest fights. That's a pretty good pick right there. Minus 270 favorite. I'm gonna go with Alden Correa on this fight. Next fight on the card. Speak of the devil, bro. Ode Osborne, whole brother, versus Alibi Idris. I'm gonna go with Ode Osborne as my crafty vet underdog pick of the week, bro. I'll tell you why. Ode Osborne looked pretty good against Steve Erceg in that short notice fight. I know that was at bantamweight, so he had a little bit more power, a little bit more muscle on him, but I think that Ode Osborne, he's the type of fighter, bro. He's one of those jobbers that loses to people like Christian Ronaldo, or what's his name? Ronaldo Rodriguez. Cristiano Ronaldo is not his name. Ronaldo Rodriguez, the little chomp looking ass. If you ever played Skylanders back in the day, you know the chompies? Yeah, that's him, bro. He looked like one of them ones. So the one with the big ass teeth. So Ode Osborne, I think he lost. Honestly, he loses people like that, but he goes out and against Steve Erceg, people like ahead of him in the ranks. One of those fighters. Alibi Idris is the favorite, but I can see him, him getting guesses. He has some issues with his cardio. I know Osborne's a little bit of a vet, and I think he can just go out there and get a crafty decision over Alibi Idris, who, don't get me wrong, 10-1, really good prospect. If he goes out there and subs Ode Osborne, listen, I won't be mad because this is a risky pick. I think Ode Osborne side, and if anything, he's going to put the versus fight, and if he can do something good against Alibi, with the takedown defense, with striking on the feet, compared to Alibi, who's gonna go out there, he's gonna Khabib Max, go straight takedown no matter what. So I'm gonna go with Ode Osborne by decision. This could be my first wrong pick of the card. Like, I might be sure that it's wrong, bro, but it's okay if we go in like 13 and out of 14. I'll take that. You know what? So it's fine. On to the next fight. Chidi Njokuani versus Carlos Leal. I'm gonna go Carlos Leal. I know Chidi's another crafty pick. I just think he's too old, man. 37 old, 6'3". He has the height and the reach, but I just think Carlos Leal has the power to shut off Chidi Con's lights off. And don't get me wrong, Chidi is very good. I think Chidi, obviously, he has the reach, he has the frame. He's a tall ass middleweight that's now going down, but I just think that he is pretty chinny, and I think Carlos Leal, while he does have a lot of whole game, you got striking defense, you got nothing. He just goes out there swinging punches, but I think he's gonna land one of those big ass bombs in this Njokuani, who is 37. So I'm gonna go with Carlos Leal by round 2 or 3 TKO KO. On to the next fight. Zach Reese versus Michelle Pereira. It's a pretty close middleweight bout. I'm gonna go with Zach Reese, bro. I trust Zach Reese's upside over Michelle Pereira, who we seen him gas out against Fluffy, but that's not saying too much because Fluffy makes the best of the best gas out. We've seen that, and that's one of the reasons where I'm kind of confused on the main event because Sean Strickland don't got he got a really good gas tank. So is he gonna be able to gas out? But we'll get into that when we get there, right? Right now, Michelle Pereira. I think he's one of the most overrated fighters in the UFC right now compared to Zachary, who did lose to Bukoyev, but Bukoyev is pretty good. I think obviously he lost his last fight to Alex Pereira's training partner, but I think that he's gonna give a lot of problems to a lot of other fighters. Zachary's obviously he has that really chopped chin. He could get shut down real quick, but I don't think Michelle Pereira. He is gonna go in there with some goofy tactics, of course, as he always does. But I think Zach Reese is going to be able to survive the initial onslaught that Michelle Pereira has. She did knock out what's his name, Mikhail Jacek, so that is saying something. That's a pretty good win, but he also looked really bad against the last couple of fighters, right? So I'm gonna go with Zach Reese. I could see a crafty vet decision here or a KO, late rounds TKO, but that's my final prediction. I'm gonna go Zach Reese by I want to say TKO, KO round 3. On to the next fight. Jacoby Smith versus Josiah Hero. 11-0, 11-0 right here. Somebody's O has got to go. And I'm going to go with Jacoby Smith because this is short notice, man. And Josiah Hero, he is pretty good. He's pretty crafty, but I just think Jacoby Smith is on a tear right now. Minus 300 favorite. That's going to rise pretty quick. I think it's already at minus 800 on some books. So I'm going to go with Jacoby Smith over Josiah Hero because I just think he has the better takedown defense, the better striking, the better, grappling as well. Josiah Harrell, he's 11-0, so don't get me wrong, he's no slouch. I just think that the 30 to 27 age gap is small, but I think the amount of, you know, training and the amount of, more time in the cage Jacoby Smith has spent has, giving him a bit of more upside into how he can win this fight, and he's gonna have a little bit more experience in the cage. Josiah Hero, he's young. If he's 11-1 after this to Jacoby Smith, that's nothing to be frowned upon. Like he's still gonna be a great prospect to watch out for. I think the height and the reach obviously are gonna be in Jacoby Smith's favor, as you can see right here, 72-inch reach, 5'10". So I think that overall he's gonna be the bigger guy in the cage. He's gonna be able to impose his will, and I think it's gonna be Jacoby Smith by KO in round 1. Round 1 KO. On to the next fight of the card. Heavyweight bout Sergey Spivak. I'd love to fight him. He's a great fighter. Versus Ante Deliha, training partner of Tom Aspinall. Got slimed out last time by how you know I Dominic Papi Aldo Cortez Acosta. But he is on a tear in the heavyweight division, so that's no shame on him. Got a win over Derek Lewis at UFC 324. So but on this fight, I'm gonna go with Ante Delia, bro. I think Sergey Spivak, he's a great fighter, but I think he has holes in his game, and I think that obviously Ante Delia, he's with Tom Aspinall's camp. They have a lot of footage. I don't know how much of the footage they actually watch though. I feel like Tom Aspinall, he trains on his own, and then the rest of the gym just trying to they're like training partners, but they all have their own trainer. I feel like because last time out, Ante Delia, he looked a little bit worse, like way worse than Tom Aspinall is. Obviously, different fighters, different fight styles, but still, I feel like against Waldo, of course, he thought he got the finish, and then they had to get up and do the whole eye poke thing, and then reset where he got slimed out. But I think in this fight, I think he's just levels ahead of Sergey Spivak, where Sergey's good, but he's one of those jobbers at this point. He's one of those ranked. He's a top 10 gatekeeper at this point. Where if you want to beat Sergey Spivak, you're gonna have to be able to beat good grappling defense, have great knockout power, and just not be able to get taken down and sat on, like how Marcin Tybura sat on people. Sergey Spivak's kind of the same deal. I could see this going to a decision, so I'm gonna go Ante Delia by KO/decision. Leaning towards decision here though, because Sergey Spivak, he's a crafty vet, obviously 31 years old. He's actually old. He's younger than Ante, but Ante hasn't been in the UFC as long, but he has great experience outside of the UFC, so that's why I'm gonna lean towards Ante Delia by I want to say decision. On to the next fight. Dan Ige versus Melky Costa, bro. I'm gonna go with Melkazel Costa. I think he is on a tear. He's one of my favorite prospects. Dan Ige, I think, he looked really, really good against Lauren Murphy. And he's been looking, he beat Sean Woodson, which is a great win. I think Melky would struggle with Sean Woodson, but I'm still gonna go with Dan Ige just because but I'm still gonna go with Melky because I think Danny Gay he's getting kind of old now, 34. He doesn't have a shoddy chin at all. Of course, he went to the decision with Josh Emmett. That should say enough. He's out here slamming out everybody, but I just think that Murphy loss was like his thing of okay, I'm good, but I'm just gonna go in for the check now because like against Patricio Pitbull, that's the fight that's worrying me the most. That Pitbull fight was nasty, bro. Going out there and just getting straight up UD'd against him, unanimous decision against him was nasty work, bro. But his wins are really good. Andre Feely, Sean Woodson, he's beating up on all these great prospects, and he's only losing to the best of the best. But then that Patricio Pitbull fight is like, hold on now, because Pitbull is not gonna be no top five, no nothing, right? Why are you losing to him? So that's really why I'm thinking that his head's not in the game anymore. I think he's just going in there for a check now. Melky, on the other hand, he's out here 5-0 in his last five. He knocked out Morgan Charrier. He's out here getting wins against Julian Erosa, Christian Rodriguez, like the who's who of the featherweight division. He's out here beating on his way to the rankings. So I just think he has the upside. He has the great grappling, and he has the great KO power that we seen last time against Morgan Charrier, but he can always rely on that grappling, and I think Danny is primed to get taken down and subbed. So I'm gonna go Melky Costa by round 3 submission. And on to the next fight. On to the co-main event. Geoff Neal versus Uros Medic. This is one of those fights that I'm worried about, man, because I love Geoff Neal, hands of steel. And 35 years old, he's not looking like the same Geoff Neal that we've seen, but he's also losing to the best of the best. You know what I mean? Like he's out there losing to Carlos Prates. He's out there losing to Ian Gary, Shavkat. Like those are not bad like losses. Rafael Dos Anjos, his last win, that was a leg break, but I feel like he was on the way to winning that fight as well. Obviously, that Shavkat fight is what I'm going off, and the split decision against Ian Gary. He did better against Ian Gary than Bilal did against him. So, like Geoff Neal is definitely not like some jobber. I think he still has a chance of going up to like top 10. Obviously, he's gonna be like a gatekeeper, but I don't think he's on his way out of the rankings anytime soon. Uros Medic, he's lost to Punahele on the same card to KO, which is crazy. Ground and pound, obviously. And then he had the wins against Gilbert Amina and Muslim Salikov. Muslim Salikov, bro, you're beating up on 40-year-olds. What are you doing? Obviously, he beat Carlos Leal, but I would also choose Uros Medic to beat Carlos Leal immediately by slimage, right? So I think Geoff Neal still has a lot of gas in the tank. I think he's going to go out there, get the round 2 KO over Uros Medic, who I think is going to go in there trying to look for the finish, gas out, and then get, obviously, just slimed out. So on to the next fight. The main event, Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez. Whew, what a main event. I'm going to go with Sean Strickland by decision. And I'll tell you why. Anthony Hernandez relies heavily on fighters gassing out and getting the takedowns, obviously, on his fighters. Sean Strickland, on the other hand, has a great 5-round gas tank. We've seen that against Adesanya. We've seen that against, on 3 weeks' notice, Adesanya. Remember that. Adesanya against Imavov on short notice, against DDP in both fights. He went 5 rounds with DDP. Didn't let DDP take him down. And DDP has good takedowns. Don't let that Hamza fight fool you. DDP has great takedowns. He subbed Adesanya, which, a lot of people say, oh, he subbed Adesanya. What's the cool part about that? Adesanya is damn near unsubmissible, bro. Like, he has not been submitted by anybody before that. People forget, bro. People forget, man. Sean Strickland, his only bad loss, humiliating loss, is against Pereira, where he got slimed out. But who hasn't got slimed out? Yuri got slimed out twice, and he's beat the whole damn light heavyweight division in the meantime. Anthony Hernandez, he out here beating jobbers like Delidzi, Michelle Pereira. Like, he's beating up people that he should beat. I think he's really, he's a really good fighter, obviously. I just think that he won't be able to impose his game plan, his will on Sean Strickland. While he doesn't have the power on the feet to knock out Strickland like Pereira does, He didn't get rocked by Adesanya when he was fighting him, Strickland that is. He didn't get rocked by Adesanya. So Strickland has a pretty good chin, decent chin, which you need to have unholy power to slime out, right? Strickland, he's gonna be able to jab and teep from range, and that fluffy belly is primed for getting teeped, of course. So I'm gonna go with Sean Strickland, underdog pick, underdog lock. Sean Strickland in the main event by decision over Anthony Hernandez. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think this is gonna be a great fight night, bro. So many good fights on this card. I'm going with a lot of finishes, but this could be one of those fight nights where it's like, oh, boring, so many decisions back to back. But I think they put a bunch of crash outs on this card for a reason. I think they want to give the Texas fans a show. But I'm curious to think what you guys think because I've been thinking about this fight a lot since the whole last 2 weeks. I've been thinking about this. Anthony Hernandez is really really good, and he's one of those prospects that I like a lot. So it feels bad picking against him. I've been picking with him. I've been picking him for a lot of fights against Delidze. I picked him against Michelle Pereira. I picked him. I hate Michelle Pereira, so that's saying a lot. But he's on a tear 5-0. But the people he's beating, I don't know. Brendan Allen is a good win against for him, but still, I think Brendan Allen has learned a lot since then. After he got that random ass win against RDR, he's almost there at a title shot, man. People forget, bro. Brendan Allen is somewhere near a title shot soon, bro, which is kind of nasty. But enough rambling. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna drop a UFC 327 fight video, and there's been so much news come out. I'm gonna drop an unction video about Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, and all these crazy fight news that we've been having. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video coming soon next week. Uh, Appreciate it, guys.